Good evening, brethren. What a wonderful evening. Today I'm going to discuss a general topic of interest. It marks 22 years of a desire that I had attended a seminar back 1999, and the date was the 7 days experience in that seminar life. And I'm going to explore what really was my greatest experience, what was my greatest hope and fears, and my encounter with my parish priest, and what was going through my mind and my perception, my understanding, my journey, my faith, and all that. It is over 22 years now, but the day is like yesterday. And the reflection is about today ends that time period. It was December 5th to December 12th. So that is a time period of 7 days. And now I will go back in time and I will reflect on the journey. Now I'm a young person, around 18 years old, and I have a desire. A desire meaning that you have something that is burning desire, that you either want to go and serve God. But in this journey, there are obstacles that are either human or self imposed obstacles. So I'll reflect on the entire journey. And it starts in a small village called Nyasara. And the year is 1999 after I finished my high school. And then I have this desire of joining a seminary. And what had happened when I first went to see my parish priest, the first thing he asked me, why do you want to become a missionary and not become a diocesan priest? And that was the question that he had asked me. I tried to explain to him why I intended to be a missionary. So, according to the missionaries, the parish priest, who is the Reverend Father, was to write a recommendation letter showing the personal relationship with the candidate who is choosing to serve in the missionary. So, the first thing this priest asked me is whether I belong to any group, a specific group in the church, and how do I serve the church. I was very fresh from high school, and I didn't have much experience in many things, despite my experience was in school and my devotion to God's word. So a day came that I was going to go to the seminar. This is where really things got messy. So I've gone to get the recommendation rather that I had given the letter to the priest for him to have a signature ascertaining that I met with him, he saw, and he's recommending me to go through the journey. But I was not even joining the seminary. It was just a seminar was that a step towards the seminar because you have to encounter the missionaries one on one, speak with them, and then they give you scenarios why you are choosing celibacy. Celibacy is a very tough life, and you are leaving everything. And so you have to reflect on many things. Like when I attended there, the book that we were given to go and read was Psalms 139, the whole in God. Where can I hide from His presence? So you go there, you reflect, and now you are trying to design whether God is calling you to that vocation. So the issue now, how did my journey go? I go to the priest, spend like 6 hours waiting for the priest to write my letter. He spends all that time, my prayer at the altar, and how God opened that journey, then how I went to this journey. And the goal now, I've spent 6 hours. You see, God sometimes tests our faith. He wants to see our endurance, our perseverance, and our courage to do things. You can imagine when I went to the altar to pray and ask God, if you really want me to serve you, open this door, or if you don't want, then close it. Sometimes you can't challenge God. And when you do, God is not a person you can challenge. He opened and he let me go. I had no option than to go even if I was so late. I had only a window of 2 hours to reach the place I was supposed to be by 2 p.m., which I had planned that I was supposed to go out in the morning earlier and maybe reach there in time. But it was not the case. It is when written, the first shall be the last in the kingdom of heaven, and the last shall be the first. So that always reminds me that in this journey of faith, we never give up. So I waited, went. I was the last person to reach there, the last person to reach the journey. And when I reached, they were even going to sleep, and when they saw me, they escorted me. I went to eat, and I had to introduce myself. I was the last person to introduce myself, which diocese do I belong, where do I come from, and why did I come late? How did I make it? I remember the vocation director asking me, how did you make it, Robert? I said, I just came by God's power. And in fact, I was excited how God did this miraculous door opened. And I explained. Then I left the first day that I attended. The second day, we had to meet with a priest. And then here is a one they take your demographic information, your parents, your life, your family. Then I designed the mystery of the glorious mystery of mind come to the power of God. Before this present, then he asked me, Robert, was this a dream? But the church is not looking for angels. At that stage, my mind is very young, very naive. It's not hoping I don't have too much questions to answer, or I'm interested to know why is God calling me. And I remember he told me you have to wait upon the Lord so that he can reveal over time why he's calling you. So so we spent there, we prayed the rosary, we reflect on the rosary. It's where I understood what really the rosary is all about. Because when you talk about the mystery of the rosary, like the soul mystery, the glorious mystery, and the luminous mystery, you reflect on the Bible. Because the rosary is like the entire New Testament. You're teaching, you're looking at the soul mystery. Jesus dies, he's crucified, he rises again. You think about that. So it's where I run that. I run how to be responsible, and in the mission life, you were to do activities that were good for young people. So it's a form of learning. We had the experience of lecturers from some renowned missionaries who have been missionaries, and they know more about missionary life, and they would write about things. So the theme here now was, what was my experience? What did I gain? First, at the beginning, you see, a journey is about to cross, but God is telling me, son, never give up. You got to proceed. When you give up, God opens. And then now your journey is tested. Whether you have a spirit, you have courage, you have perseverance, you have honesty, and you can fulfill the mission. Because this is a difficult journey. Imagine a missionary, that's what I was choosing, is to go to other places, to go to the unknown, to proclaim the word. That was the essence of that. Now, what was other experience that I gained at the seminar? I met this nun, he wrote me a letter. He was even encouraging me to become a missionary, and he even wrote a letter to my parish priest. When I left that place, I took it to my parish priest and handed to him. Seal. I never know what seal was, but that's all I know. And what's really my experience of this journey? I know sometimes I was carried by the way God did his power, but God doesn't want us to be carried by things. He wants us to observe things with keenness and be persevering, pursue the good deeds, do the good work, and then finish the journey. So I have reached now. We have finished our journey. Now we are going back. The next chapter is now the process. Now you have given up demographic, your information. Now it's another chapter. The missionary had to come to my home, and I was not there. I was in the city doing other things. And they met my father, and the same nun wrote me a letter came there, and my father treated them, encouraged them, and they spent time there. I was in the city. What if I gave in to what the priest was telling me, the diocesan priest who told me that, Robert, why can't you become a diocesan priest? Maybe I won't be where I am. But let's examine now the churning. Now we are heading another year. That was 2000, and now the preparation I have now, preparation of either joining the seminary. I went through the process even to the last minutes. I was like 10 days remaining. And this is the course that changed my entire life. 10 days. I remember my brother had an accident in the United States. And when he had an accident, this triggered something. And my father asked me, son, my father was concerned about my brother. And here, I have 10 days to make a decision. My soul is, I want to go here. And the 10 days is a decision whether to come here or to join the seminary. So this 7 days period was very educative. I had fish in Chigabaris there. The fish was well prepared. I would love to go back there and eat some fish there. And one of the things that reminded me through the process of my journey is my faith. Do I really want to serve God? And why am I serving God? So my experience as a connection that you ask yourself, why am I choosing where I'm going? So after my experience now, I've chosen, I've come home, I'm waiting for the next 10 and for the next few months to start another process. And the year is 2000 now, we are heading January. December will come very easily because now I experience now the next step. I'm still communicating with them. They are till May of the same year, 2000. I received the letter of acceptance of the missionaries, and now the thing is to prepare now to tell my parish priest, my pali in my church that I'm going to do this work. On the other hand, none of my family was in for that. I remember my dad was with his interest, my eldest brother, and all everybody. So this is a journey that was tough and difficult. Sometimes we ask, did we make wrong decision? It reminds me the story of Joseph. And when we look at the story of Joseph, on the other hand, Joseph is going to a place, and there's some want him to stay back with his father. So, what was really my experience of these whole things that I was doing? It is perseverance, faith as a journey. You start a journey to finish. Above all things that we do, God is watching us. He's an all-seeing God, and He's a revealer. He guides us in time if we trust Him to the end. So that is the goal now. How do we trust God to the end of our time? How do we stay the course even if things don't work? How do we live and bear fruits even if things don't walk in our ways. So, brethren, I was reflecting on this journey because today marks the 7 year period. At the end of that, I remember this man giving me a ride. I was the last person to reach there. And I was the first person because I got the privilege. Now the rest didn't use that. They had to take passes or taxes. But I was privileged at this time to receive a ride to Ksum town and take now a pass to KC and come home. So it is like in the Bible we are told that the fast shall be the last and the last shall be the first. So even if we see ourselves as failures in life or we are not in line with God, we have to remember that God still has a place and a space for us. And we must be ready and willing to give our spirit, our souls, and our mind to Him. So that time period of 7 days period, it was marked with prayer because we used to go and pray the rosary, we go for confession, we used to do all those good things that a young person does. That is called formation. Now when we come, like me now, I came to this place. It's like we are living in a desert of many things. In the wilderness. In the wilderness, there are lions, there are wild animals, there are every kind of danger in the wilderness because you are in the wilderness. You don't have rules, but there are rules that govern time, space, and everything that you do. In the wilderness, you don't have those such rules. The rules are you use your free will that God gave you. And this free will is what you have to use to survive. If you forget, if you don't follow that, then you lose yourself, you lose your sense of purpose. That's the greatest lesson that I learned. There it's more programmed. You are more programmed on how to do things, how to follow rules, how to follow orders. But here I came where I'm programmed to rethink as a young person everything within my reach. What is good for me? Make all my decisions upon myself. Everything. And I came to realize that everything I relied to God. If I fail, I know that it's final. If God did not make it, then that's where I came to realize that now where I perceive of divine providence is where that everything that we must surrender our human sin to the living God so that God Himself can guide us. Even if we fail, unlike where we have rules, unlike we fail now, God brings us to Himself. That's the same way God brought the Israelites. They wandered in the wilderness, they wandered in the desert, but God was leading them to a journey back to Himself. So, friend, may God bless you in the name of Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.